Hello and welcome 50 days until I run the entire length of Germany. Pressure does not create diamonds, it creates quitters. I heard this quote just minutes before I started recording actually. Excuse me. It's 2:30 a.m. and I've wasted a lot of time. I actually thought about not even recording today until I heard that quote. Excuse the red eyes, whenever I yawn, I have teary eyes. Anyway, I was scrolling on my phone and then I heard that quote, which immediately prompted me to put the phone back up and record. Because, see, here's the thing. For all our lives, we collectively have been told pressure creates diamonds, which it does, but inevitably so, for each diamond that is created, the same pressure has created hundreds of thousands of quitters. The pressure that drove Tiger Woods to be the most dominant golf player of all time has driven others to absolute spiritual and emotional bankruptcy. The pressure that has created Mike Tyson to the monster and beast that he was in the 90s and 2000s has ruined very many men. The pressure that has created, you get the gist. I can name anyone that has reached a pinnacle of success in their particular endeavor. And for each name that I list here, you could probably think of hundreds of thousands of souls and people who've quit, who've been ruined by the pressure that has created the great individuals. Well, I don't quit. I say that with little conviction because I was about to today. But I don't quit. I will fail plenty of times. That is true. But I will try again. And with this run, 61 marathons in 61 days, inevitably so, what's going to get me to the finish line is not going to be my training. It's going to be the man whom I meet when the shit gets rough. And it will. I will be exposed to pressure, and the question is how I respond. Diamond or quitter. So, I've planted my feet, and I'm here to grow. I will not quit. And if that means spending the next 49 days sitting down each evening and worrying about the fact that I don't feel like recording, I feel like a failure, which are all states of being that I do experience, absolutely, then so be it. That's just, always up for a dogfight. So I've been thinking about the run a lot today and its meaning, its spiritual meaning, purpose and intentionality, purpose and intention, to be precise. What is my intention? And what is the purpose that I follow? Well, My intention is to experience in life the widest range of excruciatingly powerful emotions that I can feel. I want to love as powerfully as I can, and I want to feel pain, and I want to be engulfed by the power of emotion. I want to swim in the depths of feeling. I want to dance in a field embraced by agony and pain and misery and hope and the oblivion of dreams. I want to feel it all. And lately with the run, one thing that's been bothering me is how tricky it is to walk the line between I'm doing this for me and only for me, and as a result of that I wish to help other people, because I do, with the charity work, and the other side of the line being people are paying attention, and all of a sudden every single little decision I make could potentially be brought into existence motivated by a desire to please that person's expectation of me. And it's intricate, it's very small and it's intricate, but it's true. All of a sudden you have people watching and well, a big part of me feels as though I want to do it alone, with a backpack and some essentials and completely on my own, unsupported, no documentation team, just me. Excuse me. Just me when I get up in the mornings. Just me when I'm 29 kilometers deep and in pain and hungry. Just me when I finish in the evenings. Just me when I go to bed. Uninterrupted capacity to experience and feel. Right now, I'm in a position where I have to beg for help. I have to ask companies to take into consideration that, a collaboration with me would be beneficial to them. That I need a camper van, and in exchange I can offer advertisement with the camera team. But right now, I don't have nearly enough money to make this happen. I do not have the necessary 8 grand for a van. I don't have the couple of grand it would take to pay my team their salaries. And it's okay, Part of me thinks if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. Obviously, a requirement of that thought process is that I put in the work, the repetitions. I put in the emails, I put in the requests. Only as a result of that can my labor bear fruit and result in potentially getting the funding. But honestly, man, I do not like being in the public eye. I've learned that very viscerally. I do not like being in the public eye. I like to be for myself. If I'm going to be a disappointment, I want to be a disappointment to myself. And if I'm going to be a success, I want to be a success to myself. When I completed, I might have said this before, but I'm going to say it again. When I completed my 419-day solo hike across Europe, I hiked across 13 countries, a couple of them entirely in width or length, unsupported, with my backpack. My phone number available to a very small, select group of people. I would write letters to friends, and anyway, I returned home after 419 days. And you know what I learned most of all? Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody gave a shit. Not one person. No one gave a fuck. And I learned this only because there was, to some degree, a part of me that wanted the admiration and recognition of others. For them to be slightly in awe of what I had completed. Because it was impressive. But I returned home. No one gave a fuck. Almost as though some were like, well, yeah, obviously I knew you were going to do it. Which also, again, great. But the lesson was, no one gave a fuck. Imagine that. Imagine you're gone for over a year. You return home on foot. You've walked from Austria back to your hometown. You enter the city. Obviously, the 20k leading up to the entrance into the city are already very emotional. And you're walking the streets you've walked when you studied in the said city. And you walk past little shops and coffee spots you used to go to with your friends. But now you're bearded, with long hair, looking like Jesus, sweaty. And you're walking through these streets, and it's summertime. The streets are crowded, lots of people. Everyone looking at you weirdly because you look a specific way. And you arrive, and the one thing you were kind of waiting for the entire time never arrives, never comes. No one gives a fuck. That's when I learned, very viscerally and very convincingly, there just is no point in doing anything for anyone's recognition. The beautiful things that I could extract from my time traveling, hiking, being alone, was the beauty of being alone. It was the evenings where I slept in the mountains and cried because I missed my brother, writing him letters. It was the evenings of frustration when I was living on islands, working there, sleeping in the worst accommodations you could possibly conjure up in your head, surrounded by very unhealthy people. And the beauty in those moments was going outside in the night, looking at the stars, and realizing you're 23 years old and you're living this life of passion. You don't have enough money to sustain yourself, no, but you have a daily visceral experience of this is life. And the small little nuanced intricacies of life, you know. There is so little point in doing anything for anyone's recognition, at least to me. Ever since then, when I returned home and I learned that what I truly valued about my time traveling was the little things that I only experienced for myself, and those were the lessons that stuck and would translate into life later, I learned there's just no fucking point. And so now with this run, that's exactly how I'm approaching it, you know? I don't even like posting the reels that I do when I go out running, saying the countdown, 54 days until I run the entire length of... I don't like it because I don't want to be talking about doing the work. I want to be doing the work. This, to some degree, is different because this is, I suppose, an authentic documentation of what an individual goes through in preparation for this. And I'm a sensitive guy. I feel things. I feel a lot of things. In fact, the fact that I'm sensitive makes me the rigorous and crazy individual that I can be when I need to. There's a story I'll share with you. When I was hiking the Camino the Camino de Santiago in Spain last year, around this time actually. I set off to walk the Camino, doing 40 kilometers every single day, doing, I think it was 20 push-ups every hour that I would spend hiking. I didn't prepare physically at all. I just figured I'd do it, you know, and I had 15 kilos of extra weight approximately. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, that's exactly what I do. I set out, I meet some people, I befriend some people, sensational people, good friends now. And we do this together every single day. And about 5 or 6 days in, I think, I have this severe injury. Now, I'm a physical therapist by training, and I've been an athlete for a long time, so, you know, I can determine pretty quickly what an injury is and when it's severe. And this one was quite severe. Now, I did identify it wrongly. I did make a mistake. I thought that I had a stress fracture in the tibia, in my left tibia, my left shin. And so every time I would walk, when I would put pressure on the foot, my shin felt like it was breaking, and I could no longer lift my foot because the specific muscle that's responsible for lifting the foot, the tibialis anterior, whatever pronunciation you prefer, was no longer functioning. And I had a testicle growing out of my shin. Literally, I had this little ball growing out of my skin. So I'm thinking inflammation of soft tissue around the stress fracture. Day 6 arrives and we're hiking. And it's a hot day. And I can't get into rhythm. I'm using my walking sticks, but I can't find a rhythm that's at the same pace that all my people are walking at. So we hit this long stretch where we're like in the middle of fields. And it's very sunny, very, very hot. And all of a sudden you can see the fields openly go into the distance. As far as you can see, that's exactly how far you're gonna have to walk, and much further. And it's all open fields with this little trail that we all understandably know we have to hike. And I know at this point it's approximately 12, 11-ish kilometers to the next village. I'm walking and I'm falling behind the people that I usually can outpace very comfortably. Now, mind you, they refer to me as Rocket because of how quickly I can walk, especially given the extra weight. That day I was not Rocket. I was falling behind and I was very frustrated and my shin was killing me. And all of a sudden, my mind goes weak. I fall into thought patterns that are very, very weak. I start breaking cognitively. I start thinking to myself, okay, fuck, the shin's broken. You have to stop, next city, find a hospital, get the next flight home, and quit the walkabout. I haven't been gone a year at that time, so I thought I've lost. I'm a quitter. I have to head home. I have to call it prematurely, and I can't complete the Camino. I'm gonna miss this experience with all these people, and I'm a failure, and blah 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 blah. All these thoughts are happening within my head, and as a result, obviously, the quality of thoughts translates immediately to my body and spirit. So all of a sudden, I don't have the strength I need in my limbs, and I don't have the strength in my heart, and I do not have the belief in my soul, and I start breaking like I'm a broken man. And so what do? I think, well, I think to myself, I've planted my feet, I'm here to grow. So I just throw my sticks, my walking sticks, against the ground and I scream. I like get a big, fresh breath of air and I scream as loud as I can. As if I was about to charge a fucking mammoth. I scream with every little piece of vitality I have left in me, right? And I have a very quick surge of energy, and I pick up the sticks and I power through. This holds on for about 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, energy is gone, enthusiasm is gone, the fresh air is gone, and I am ruined. I now think to myself, fuck, it's broken. My leg's breaking. This is it. This is it. You've failed. You've lost. That's exactly what I thought. You've lost. You've failed. It's broken. And then, out of nowhere, Ivana, who I've mentioned in an earlier video, in one of these videos, I think the one from 3 nights ago, Ivana walks past me. And without knowing it, she completely changed my life. As she's walking past me, she says to me, more so like a throwaway comment that you kind of just say, without even the intention of motivating me, just more so as like a, come on, you know? She says, come on, Ale, you're stronger than you think. But she said it in such a casual way, and also to some degree with annoyance, because everyone was frustrated and everyone was kind of going through it. Everyone was in pain. So she also communicated with me to some degree that she's also going through it, but she's walking. Now, obviously, she didn't have a severe injury like I did, but she said this as I'm stood there about to like just cry or something. She walks past me. She says this. And I immediately think to myself, how dare you have less faith in yourself than someone else does? Who the fuck are you to start doubting yourself before others do? And I got a little angry. And all of a sudden, that anger completely rewired my thought process momentarily. And now what I'm thinking is, if the shin's broken, you might as well walk until it's completely broken. Because broken, it's the same thing, you know? So if it's already broken, it's damaged. Just do more damage until you really know you can't walk a single meter further. There's nothing to lose. If you're going to quit now, you might as well quit 10 meters down the road if it breaks completely. Put in my headphones. Full blast. I play Never Enough from the Greatest Showman soundtrack, I believe. And I just fucking let it rip. Like I'm outpacing everyone in front of me. I'm almost running at this point. I'm slamming the sticks into the ground with each step. And provocatively, I'm slamming the foot into the ground to really... My thought process in that moment was, I was going against my shin. And it was more so like, yo, you want to fucking break on me now? You want to break on me now? Okay, fine. So I would slam the fucking foot into the ground with each step to provocatively, to test the shin and be like, I fucking dare you to break now, motherfucker. I fucking dare you. And long story fucking long, I covered the next 10K in what must have been an hour 25 walking, might I add, with the extra weight and a slight incline, which gives you an idea of how quickly I was actually moving. And I recall at one point going up an incline, again, fucking slamming the sticks into the ground with each step, menacingly charging forward like a Viking, you know, I remind you, long hair and beard, tan in the face and just with this huge fucking backpack, And I'm really fucking in the mood to just, I could have wrestled a fucking gorilla. I could have. And so I'm hiking up this incline, I'm slamming these sticks into the ground, and I pass this girl who was visibly struggling. But she's powering through it. You could tell by the body language that she was not done, but she was in a dark place, which you are in on these long hikes. And as I walk past her, I say to her, because mind you, we're all on the Camino, all these people who are doing this incredibly historical hike, long historical hike, they're all doing it for very introspective reasons. People go there because they've lost family members, because they've lost relationships, because they're dying themselves, because they've abandoned the life they've lived. People go there to reassess their own individual capacity for existence. So as I walk past her on this incline, I say to her, in this spirit of fucking war, I say to her, you came here to grow. Fucking grow. And I pass her. And it was a little aggressive, I understand. But when I hit the next village, I get into the village on the outskirts of it. And I remember clicking my backpack off because I had like a belt here and a belt on my waist. Click, click, slung it off. And then the next thing I know, Ben and Ivana had caught up to me. But an hour or maybe a little less must have passed, because I remember the sun being in a specific place when I got there and the sun being in a completely different space when they arrived. And they woke me up and Ben's like, "How you doing, buddy?" Like he always does. And I wake up and I can't remember falling asleep. And I realized I passed out. Like I fainted on the side of the road in this village. But what I learned that day was I had reached a complete halt, a stop, a moment of complete weakness and lack of faith. I lost. I was already out of the fight. I was convinced I was lost. I was convinced I fucked up and I was done. And even then I had enough within me to do all that. How could I not believe that we are all powerful beings? I mean, seriously. Now, I am by no stretch of the imagination a very wise man, but I'm wise enough to know that that capacity that lives within me in those moments lives within us as a collective. It does. It's the capacity of the human being for resistance. The sensational stories of overcoming are always prefaced by a period of enduring and persisting. You must endure first to be able to persist. And you must have persisted long to have overcome. That's the fucking formula. So when someone says pressure creates diamonds, you tell them pressure creates quitters. And occasionally maybe the odd diamond. The capacity to be a diamond lives within everyone. So does the capacity to quit. That day on the Camino, I didn't quit. But that was one of many, many instances in my entire life where I chose a specific direction for myself. Many other times in my life, I chose to quit. I know I did. But in that instance, I didn't. That's the name of the game. In order to overcome, you must have endured and persisted. And in order to be a fucking diamond, you have to resist the urge to quit. So, yeah. Be a diamond. Come on. There's a whole world that needs you to be the best you can be. Your best has to manifest in this world because your best is beneficial to everyone. To everyone. To everyone. So again, pressure creates diamonds, but by the same token, it creates quitters. And each and every decision you make, there's a possibility for you to see which of the two you are. And I have a good feeling. Thank you. 31 minutes. Fuck me, man. Thank you for watching, if you've made it this far. And as always, much love.